back to the kitchen. You were here with Team M.A.D, Wrestling in the building with your man, Twitch for Life, MrBroadcast, author Yves, and today we're talking about our top 5 favorite movies that don't include superheroes. Are y'all ready? Are you ready?
Let's get ready to do this.
Let's get ready to rumble. All right. Top 5 favorite movies. Top 5 favorite movies. You know, I don't even want to discuss mine first. Because the ones I think are going to be the most interesting are going to be arts. Because and here's why. Like, I think arts top 5 movies are going to be the most unput together. Right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the most like instantly thought of movies, and I think like after you get done with your list and like you hear like me and Lance's like list, like because we're gonna go 1-1-1 just like we did with the top 5 artists, right?
Okay.
Like, but after you're done with your list, you're gonna be like, damn, I don't know if that's the one.
No, now like upon writing them down and like thinking them over, they are definitely. Of my top like ish movies.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. But you got to tell us why though. Like,
okay.
For everyone, like I want to know why.
Okay.
I want to know why because I can't disagree with them because you know.
Yeah.
It's not like recording artists, like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's way more movies than there are recording artists.
I can't wait for Art to tell us about why The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai and Lena Part 6 are in his top 3.
I can't wait for MrBroadcast to tell us about movies that haven't been produced yet, but yet he's seen all of.
And then he's gonna break down the history,
right,
of every actor,
the future history,
the future history, right? He's like, well, it all started in 3021.
Hey,
really?
Pharrell did the soundtrack. He made it on clay vinyl.
Actually, it wouldn't be Pharrell who did the soundtrack. Technically, it would be Childish Gambino who did the soundtrack with 3005. So just...
Yeah, you're true. You're right.
I'm going to start off with something a little more intelligent. Probably the most intelligent of my choices. And it's V for Vendetta.
Ooh. I didn't expect that.
Did not at all.
Did
not at all see that.
Every line that comes out of our protagonist's mouth is brilliant, thoughtful, and something.
I'm never letting you start again.
Why is that?
That's definitely one of mine. Stole all my thunder. That's cool. Go with it.
Yeah, it's everything about that movie is great.
I love the imagery.
Yeah.
In the movie, like in
the
theming of it.
Monotones with red. That's like kind of The cinematography, the writing, the direction, the choice of actors. Yeah, everything about it.
There's a really cool theme of 5 in the movie, right? Mm-hmm. And like I've said this probably a couple times. I think I've said it to you, but like, of course, you know, V is the Roman numeral for 5, which was, you know, he named himself out of the cell that he broke out of after the prison burned down, right? And so that's why he was named V. However, his co-star there, I can't remember her name in real life, but her name in the movie is Evie.
Natalie Portman.
That's right. There it goes. Her name in the movie was Evie, which E is ironically like the 5th letter from the front of the alphabet, and V is the 5th letter from the back of the alphabet, right? And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like everybody's named 5. You know what I'm saying? It's like 5 verse 55.
Yeah. No. Everything.
It was just a crazy, crazy movie. And Hugo Weaving is such an amazing like actor, and his monologues are
voila. In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. The only verdict is vengeance, a vendetta, held as a votive not in vain, for the value and veracity of such shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily, this vichyssoise of verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Incredible.
Like
It's incredible.
6 to midnight.
It's just an
But you can call me V.
like when he broke down, like she was like, "But who are you?" And he broke down like the whole, irony of asking a masked man who he is.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, exactly. I agree. Sorry, definitely like.
Oh
near
yeah,
and dear to my
I'm with
heart.
you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's an extremely intelligent movie.
It
I
is.
think that's movies that get you thinking while it's happening, but that you can appreciate the action that's going on while thinking about stuff. Like that's my other. I'll say it was between V for Vendetta and it was more recent Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. It was between those two because
that's
they
a
are
really
very
good movie, too.
similar.
Yeah,
Very similar in a lot of ways.
yeah. Because I really like that Sherlock Holmes movie. I've watched that one a number of times. Matter of fact, there's only 4 movies on my that I keep on my phone just in case I ever get caught somewhere. I want to watch a movie, don't have access to internet. It's Sherlock Holmes, The Dark Knight, Blind Side, and with Will Smith.
I, Robot?
No, way further back. The Big Brother one. Oh my gosh, Enemy of the State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are like the 4 movies that are on there.
Yeah.
Not that they're my favorite movies, but they put my brain in a different space because they make you think, like all of them. So
Definitely.
The Dark Knight is just really entertaining, but Enemy of the State it makes me appreciate older movies for the fact that like the writing that was in there, the actual acting that needed to happen, and how there was more spoken parts in the movie versus like CGI and effects. You know what I'm saying? Like they had 2-hour movies and it was a lot of actual acting.
Yeah.
And so I watched that movie because I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna hit y'all with the real. Like one of my favorite movies it's an old movie, right? It's old, real old, right? But it's An American in Paris with Gene Kelly and Audrey Hepburn.
Oh wow.
That's
Okay.
a good look.
Yeah. So like my was one of my guilty pleasures. It's like old 50s movies like Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, kind of my thing. So I love musicals too. So like, I be in my space, chilled out, locked up, and
I just realized another one of your favorites.
but
As soon as you started talking about this, I was like, oh wait. I got it in mind. I'll let you say it. I just realized I forgot that you like musicals. That you like. I don't even know if you're gonna say it now. We'll see.
I probably not because I think this is the only musical on my list.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
So Moulin Rouge isn't up there.
Moulin Rouge is like my favorite movie soundtrack.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But as a movie itself, it's not up there.
It's probably on my top 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it hits my top 5 because there's movies I'd rather see before I see Moulin Rouge, but I really do like that movie as well.
Yeah.
But like An American in Paris is kind of one of those, it's the classic story. Guy goes to Paris, to find a new life, as a painter, falls in love with a girl that he can't obtain, you know what I mean? And eventually he gets the girl. but it's, there's a lot of music. There's a lot of dancing in the movie. Tap dancing was huge in that time. And I don't know. I just really enjoy watching the movie. It takes me back to some of the other movies like Mary Poppins and My Fair Lady and stuff like that. Like I like those type of movies, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing. So I can almost tell you like every line in My Fair Lady.
Respect.
Word.
Fair enough, man. That's pretty good. I guess I'll start with one of my oldie but goodies.
Okay.
As mine as well. And the first one on my list is
Homeward Bound 3, The Legend of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
boom, you know what's up. You know what's up. Coming out in 2033. You know what I'm saying? This same thing with older one from 1967. I'm starring Sidney Poitier and Katharine Hepburn. Guess who's coming to dinner?
Yeah.
So that definitely...
Wait, who's coming?
That definitely set a tone when it comes to just not only the racial tensions of that time, but some of the racial tensions we still deal with to this day.
Sure, for sure.
That though it's a little bit worldly open, there's still inner taboos about it.
Yeah.
Currently in our cultures of interracial dating and marriage and things like that, and the tension that comes along with that. And so for me, that's definitely one of those movies, man. It just kind of lets you hear it from a lot of different angles, and it wasn't holding punches and it wasn't trying to fit in. It just was telling it what it was, even for that time, which it's timeless in the fact that it can still stand the test of time to this day.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Dope.
That's my first one.
Well, I guess my next one then. I'm gonna go back to the oldest. I think it's the oldest of my list. I'm pretty sure it's the oldest of my list.
Okay.
And that's Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Okay. Respect. Yeah, for sure.
Just Monty Python. Like, my parents raised me on Monty Python and the Flying Circus, and so I've always had an appreciation for British comedy.
Okay.
And I feel like that's the culmination of everything that they've done together as a group, and just all the themes carry over so many movies. How many movies? How often have you seen that, like, holy hand grenade and used as a I don't know, what do you call it, a cameo in other movies and other video games and just everywhere. Yeah. And even the lines carry over. People like to recite those lines.
That's true.
Throughout.
That's true. Everywhere.
All over TV and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Mad respect.
I think that was way back was that in the 60s or 70s? I want to say it's in the 70s.
I think you're right on that.
It's probably my oldest, the oldest of my list.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna come back to the 2000s with this one, and this one specifically. I have watched this movie more times than I've watched any other movie in my life. At one point I was counting how many times I watched it. I've watched the movie over 400 times. Okay. I can recite every line in the movie. Or at one point I could recite every line in the movie. Okay. I've watched this movie over 400 times. There's another movie I watched over 300 times. But this one specifically is Rush Hour 2.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Rush Hour 2 was it. It was the first DVD I owned. And because it was the first DVD I owned, I watched it every night in order to go to sleep. And to this day, it's still one of my favorite movies. Whenever I don't know what to watch, I don't know what to do, I'm kind of done with the music thing, and I know I want to just raw laugh and chuckle, it's the one. It's the one I go to. Definitely. You know what I mean? And, I can still hear the little music on the DVD menu with the Chinese takeout container that's going up in flames. Like, I still see it all. But, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker together, that's a classic combo, man. That's a classic combo. And
Drew Hill playing in the background with the Red Man cameo.
So, yes, that's definitely going to be my number 2.
My number 2 is a little bit newer, but still old.
All right.
Bottom line, Krush Groove, man. Krush Groove.
I don't think I've seen Krush Groove.
America. It's almost like I just want to take it off the table, let y'all find out what Krush Groove is, and then we just come back to it. Because there's certain things I should not have to explain. When we come to music, I find myself, saying what? I'm going to table it, Mr. Broadcast, and just explain it to him. But there's certain things I'm not supposed to explain to either one of you.
Run DMC,
especially
the Fat
you.
Boys, Curtis Blow, New Edition.
Okay, so I'm
Twitch. No.
look.
As a grown ass man, I'm telling you, no.
Okay.
Krush Groove should F all the rest of that. 80% of the other stuff in your repertoire of DVDs, Blu-rays, and VHSs or whatever. In Krush Groove, you don't even recognize what it is. No.
Okay, so it is a 1985 American film by Warner Brothers, written by Ralph Farquhar and directed by Michael Schultz. The film is based on the early days of Def Jam recordings and up-and-coming record producer Russell Simmons, portrayed by Blair Underwood.
It is basically the story of Def Jam Records.
Can I say what I want to say now?
Oh, it better be good, America.
I don't like movies that are about hip-hop culture,
You tell me you don't like Pootie Tang?
I don't. It's funny. I reference it, but I don't like it as a movie. I don't like it.
Whether you don't like it or not, for me to say Krush Groove and you say Krush Groove and not know what it is, that is not the answer. You could say, okay, yeah, that's Krush Groove. I don't like it. But that's not what you did. You looked at me like, yeah, no, that's what it was.
I didn't.
Because
I would never look for it.
So,
I would never look for it. That's why I would never know what it is.
He's so upset.
I don't understand. It's
Are
like
you crying?
it's like the dude who says, I'm going to play football. I don't watch no games though. I don't watch no games and I don't watch no film, but I'm playing football.
I know a lot of guys like that.
I actually know guys like that too.
Yeah, that's the thing.
No. Whatever dudes you know suck. Because there's no way you could pull off not watching film and go play football. For real. You can play some pitch-up tackle. You can maybe do good at some flag football. But that's part of your training. You watch the film on the people you're playing. You watch the history of the people you're playing.
Yeah, I would say in this case,
you can. If you don't have, listen to me. Before you respond to the next thing you're gonna say,
Are you crying?
unless at the end of the thing, unless you show me where you have at least been either all city or all district
Yeah.
in football.
Yeah.
Whatever you about to say about football, it's not the answer.
Mr. Broadcast.
What?
You need a hug?
So I know dudes like that.
I'm with you.
They're sitting on the sideline. You know the dudes that's handing out the water bottles.
Yes, I will agree.
This got real personal. Like, are you okay?
I would say the metaphor, my only response was the metaphor falls a little flat because you don't need to know the history of Def Jam recordings to be able to produce hip-hop tracks or engineer hip-hop music.
I'm not asking you to know the history of Def Jam.
Yeah.
He's just asking
Music.
me to know.
My point
about
is
the movie.
to know the existence of a movie. To say this is what I want you
sure.
to know that it exists. That is the point I'm making.
Sure. But like,
Right.
all right. So I think a closer metaphor would be like having current like high school football players know about the original Green Mile. That would be a closer metaphor, I think. Like,
You don't have to watch it. You don't have to have watched NFL Rocks.
Sure.
But you would to
what's that?
historical movie about football. That's the point I'm making.
I think the
You
oldest
don't
football
have to.
movie I know is like Green Mile.
You don't
I think
have
the
to
only one I
know.
know is Remember the Titans. So
You know that though. But you know that though.
yeah.
But you know.
That's
Gotcha.
because, but I don't know Remember the Titans because I like football. I know Remember the Titans because I like Denzel Washington.
And it came out like in our
Yeah,
life.
sure.
My point is, you didn't have to watch it, but you should know it exists. Where this goes back to my point is the history.
So how would I know
history?
How would I know it exists if I'm not looking for that genre or that type of movie? No, I'm being real. Like how would
In the sense of the history of the culture.
how many movies have been made since 1990?
Listen to what I'm saying. The history of the culture is what I'm saying.
Okay.
The history of the culture. So,
Okay.
in the sense of knowing the history of the culture, you would know it exists. This goes back to that. This is why, what the fuck that is. Timmy Turner is going to be the song. People like you. That's the reason Timmy Turner's going to be the song. No freaking history. Right there. You have totally proven my point. No history. You don't have to know all of it. You need to know a piece of the history exists. That is the history of the culture, right?
But it doesn't devalue my knowledge on the culture just because I don't know that particular movie exists.
I'm using that as an example of the one things of you leaned into saying,
but
I don't watch
you're
it because of
leaning
this.
Really heavy on this one particular film.
No, it's not just the film, man.
You're
it's
acting as if I didn't know Run DMC exists.
No, I'm acting as every time we have a conversation, like, hey, did you have no idea what you're talking about?
At least I'm not bullshitting.
It's fair. That's fair.
I
don't know.
At least I'm giving you an opportunity to educate me on something. But when that happens, what you do is you exploit the opportunity to make fun of the fact that I don't know already.
Not making fun at all. I am very upset and disappointed. There is no fun being made, America. No fun. I have not poked or prodded in fun at all. We owe some confunction junction. What is your function right now?
I thought it was conjunction junction.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure it's conjunction.
Do your history.
I'm pretty adept at, Schoolhouse Rock. So.
Oh, Schoolhouse Rock. That's where you at? That's what we doing?
Oh, he said
Schoolhouse Rock.
Confunction was an album by the Commodores, wasn't it?
Oh, we want to talk about Commodores now?
What?
Let's keep this going. What other history do you know?
Wait, am I wrong? Is it not?
I didn't say you was wrong. I just
Is it Confunction?
Conjunction.
Mm-hmm.
No, Confunction it's an album. I think
Confunction.
I didn't say you was wrong. I say what other history do you know? Again, not making fun.
Confunction.
Confunction.
But it's like spelled.
Yeah.
Yeah, with funk.
Yeah.
It's spelled with funk.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Confunction Records, and then there's Confunction. The album you're talking about is 3 different words, and it's spelled like weird as hell.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's like CONFUNK SHUN.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I was saying, America, back to my point of the importance of the movie Krush Groove is that it allowed, as Artemis Prime was getting into, that it allowed to showcase a lot of up-and-coming artists from the East Coast, of the likes of like LL Cool J, Sheila E., Curtis Blow, the Fat Boys, New Edition, a lot of pivotal folks, as well as Run DMC and that whole piece of Russell Simmons and the coming up of
That's
Def
dope.
Jam.
That's dope. I'm not clowning the movie at all. I'm just saying I didn't know it existed.
Ooh, Shaka Khan was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Debbie Harry,
Yeah.
the Gap Band.
Full Force was in it too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna move on to you, so I don't get chastised any longer.
All right. So my next favorite coming is probably again the oldest of what I have left is Boondock Saints.
Ooh, that's a classic.
I think so.
Not to be confused with the Boondocks. I don't know how many people I
Right,
really
yeah,
do
shit.
go off on.
Yeah.
Like I'm picking fun right now, but I really go off on people that confuse the Boondock Saints with the Boondocks.
So that what's the guy who played the main pro/antagonist?
Oh, Willem Dafoe.
Yes. That was wasn't it like his debut movie or something?
Was it his debut movie?
No, not Willem Dafoe. The guy played next to him, the younger guy.
I have no idea what you're. Oh, are you talking about like the friend?
Yeah.
The friend who got his finger shot off?
Yeah, I believe so.
David Della Rocco. He played Rocco. Billy Connolly. So like Norman Reedus is in it. He's the he played he was in Blade 2. He was the Tinker character in Blade 2.
The Tinker?
All right, so in Blade, who is the guy who made all of his weapons?
Chris Christopherson.
That's the actor who's the character.
Oh,
I forget. The old guy.
The old man. He called him old man. What's his?
Whistler.
All right, so the replacement Whistler in the second movie, because Whistler died in the first movie. I say that with air quotes.
The little young dude who was in the In the van?
Yeah, was it Scud? Scud.
Yeah, I think it was Scud.
That was Norman Reedus, and in Boondock Saints, he's one of the brothers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And he plays in Walking Dead.
And he plays in Walking Dead. Yeah.
I also haven't seen.
I think there's a couple characters from. No, I'm thinking Sons of Anarchy. I think they're both in Sons of Anarchy too. The other guy I'm talking about from Blade to the the old guy who's kept trying to kill Blade throughout the whole movie is trying to shoot Blade.
Yeah, he plays Hellboy.
Who's that?
Old guy in Sons of Anarchy. You talking about the old guy in Sons of Anarchy?
Really?
Who also tries to kill Blade. He is.
I totally believe that.
He is Hellboy, and also he used to be in the late 80s TV show Beauty and the Beast, or whatever it was called, on TV.
Huh. That's dope as hell.
Was it called Beauty and the Beast, or was it just called Beast?
I'm trying. I know.
That's
whatever.
the first time
New York.
I've seen him do the makeup
version.
for the lion lip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Boondock
Ryan
Saints.
Perlman.
And they do that. They do that little
Ryan Perlman.
prayer before they shoot somebody. That was dope as hell.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Willem Dafoe, probably my favorite role of his. Just everything about that movie. Again, I enjoyed it. I enjoy it.
He played an incredible Norman Osborn with Spider-Man.
He did, but I didn't like the movie.
I didn't like the movie either.
Yeah.
But his
was
character was played very well.
Very well. And he came back as the voice of the Green Goblin in the second movie, or in the next one, the sequel.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a great job.
I'm a massive fan of Willem Dafoe.
So, my next movie, we're going to go back a little bit. We're going to go back to the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is a movie that I recite lines from on a daily basis. Every single day since I've seen that movie, I recite at least one line from this movie every day. And sometimes it doesn't make sense in what I'm talking about. I just feel like saying one of the lines.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie is Cool Runnings.
Didn't see that one coming.
One of my favorite movies on the planet. I have seen Cool Runnings over 300 times. I can recite the entire movie in the accent for all the characters. I watched the movie a whole bunch of times before I actually went to Jamaica, and I really thought I was gonna be ignorant in Jamaica, people don't really talk like that. But then I got to Jamaica and I'm like, oh they really talk like
totally
that.
talk like that.
Oh snap. And it made me appreciate the movie even more, because if you go to the airport in Jamaica or in Montego Bay, there's the airport restaurant, and they play Cool Runnings on repeat inside of the restaurant, and a portion of the profits from that restaurant go to the actual Jamaican bobsled team to send them to the Winter Olympics.
That's dope.
Yeah, it was really dope. Going to Jamaica kind of solidified my love for the movie, and seeing that they embraced the movie as well was really cool. That movie for me is just everything. It makes me smile. It makes me laugh. It's just a good, healthy, anytime movie.
Oh yeah. Probably the most family appropriate.
Yeah. There's only one line in the movie that's not really family appropriate, but it slips past a lot of people.
Which one's that?
That's when they say, he was like, so what we gonna call it? He said, I say we call it Tallulah. He said, Tallulah? Sound like a $2 hooker.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
It just slips. It slips past a whole bunch of people, but that's that part's one of my favorite parts in the movie. We say it sounds like a $2 hooker, and he said that's my mother's name. So, but anyway, yeah, definitely Cool Runnings. Peace be their journey.
dude, if I say this movie, and either one of y'all say, if you just heard of it, I'll leave it at that. But
come with it.
Setting himself up for some
I
disappointment.
because I'm just ready. Because at this point, I'm just ready. I'm just ready for the ridiculousness. At this point, I'm just ready for the ridiculousness. I'm. After I literally say this one, I promise you, I'm gonna start. You know what? The reference probably won't make sense. So never even remind the reference I'm gonna go to about another movie. That's where I'm at right now. Because you're gonna probably look at me like what I'm talking about for that. Dude,
Just say it.
this is number 3, right?
Yeah.
Man, my number 3 movie, just because of what it brought to the uneducated level of America, based on one of the most famous quoted, probably the second most famous quoted line from the movie, stated the tone of America in this moment when this movie came out. When one of the lead actors says, either they don't know, they don't show, or they don't care. That movie changed a lot of the way America saw inner city communities and the way they saw things when it came to the real issues in the black community. And I'm talking about Boys in the Hood. Go ahead. Just tell me how you ain't never seen it, never heard of it, don't even know who in it. Go ahead. Just tell me. Just tell me. Just keep adding to it.
Sorry, keep going.
Just what that movie represented, man. The change in status that movie made for us in the filming industry, which then went over into other avenues for us of entertainment. What that did for Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah, that was like his first big starring role movie right there. I mean, just what that did changed a lot of things for what he did. Even Nia Long and Regina King, being in that. Angela Bassett was like, so many actors and actresses were in that, and what it set the tone for going forward with things, and also what it did when it came to behind the scenes productions to get up and coming, directors and producers of, minority, descent into that world to say that we can make something powerful and make it matter. What you got to say about that, Art? Let's go with something good so then when Brandon takes it back down, I can be okay.
No, I got respect for it. I mean, you know how I feel about, like, so for what it was at the time, I've got nothing but respect for it. It's that if it came out nowadays, it would disappoint me in that it was, again, another portrayal of the black community as though it was centered around drugs and gangs and guns and violence and stuff like that.
Agreed.
And I think, again, for what it was at the time, there wasn't a lot of black movies, period, so it fit in the time and space. It's not my favorite, but I've got respect for it for what it is.
I think like what we talked about before when we were talking about from the standard of music, there was a time where this, just like the music during this time, because it was still that NWA kind of time, where it was about, we're here in the ghetto. Now at this point, we've been talking about it for 20 years. How do we get out now?
Yeah.
Like, this represented where we were then, but now it's time to talk about how we can get out now, because we have the means to get out now.
Yeah.
So we need to just work together. So I agree with you. If this was made now, it wouldn't be as relevant as it was then. It wouldn't be needed
100%.
as it was then.
Yeah.
It would just be another addition to what already we're hearing and being recycled and just saturating.
Yeah.
So I'll say this about the movie. It's one of those movies that's a must-see movie. It's a must-see movie if you have any want to understand where we saw ourselves as a black community. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not many movies that we have as a people that is black cast that depicts us in a real light without too much exaggeration, and that is one of them. You know what I mean? You got that one, you got New Jack City, you know what I'm saying, that really depicts us in a real light and what it's like to create your own communities, and not just your own community, create a separate value system from everybody else. Right? Because there's things you see come out of that movie, come out of that culture. One of the things that I know comes out of that time period and that culture is clean shoes. Yeah. We created a different value system based on clean shoes, right? Your shoes meant more than anything else. It meant more than your car. It meant more than the money in your pocket. It meant more than the girl that was on your arms. And people have to understand that our community was set up different. We had to take what we had and make it cool, right? And we did that, and we turned it from just a community value system into a popular culture. You know what I'm saying? Jordans wouldn't be Jordans if that value system hadn't been set up.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, no, mad respect to the movie. You know what I'm saying? And you're welcome for not shooting your dreams down.
All right.
I forgot about New Jack City. The Freshmen in New Jack City were Ice Cube's first 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that the other movie you were going to reference? Was that the other movie you were going to reference?
Yes.
See, surprise your ass.
Yeah, you got me. That's why I said I'm going to just wait and see.
So I'm like,
Rock-a-bye, because I was about to say, you about to go rock-a-bye. That's why I was about to say, that's why I just, you know what? I'm
gonna completely flip the script on this from a movie that was almost entirely a black cast to a movie
Bro,
that's
I
almost
love Rainbow Bright.
Entirely.
Oh, my bad.
Aristocrat. Oh, I thought you were going to say
Aristocats.
Oh, there's Aristocats. I just knew that was coming.
Love that movie. But
Yo, you don't love that movie. You love the one scene with the cats with the jazz riff.
oh yeah,
That shit's amazing.
Oh, and then where they slip into chopsticks. Was the Siamese cat?
Yes.
Was the thing? Oh yeah.
Yes.
No, I love the whole movie. I'll be honest.
Everybody.
I love that whole movie. Oh yeah.
Everybody wants to be your cat. Boom, boom, boom.
But no,
When your boy said, a square with a horn makes you wish you weren't born in the caveman days. I'm sorry. I love
That's a
that.
good movie.
Sometimes when I'm sitting with my cats, I look at them and have that song playing in my mind.
I'm really okay.
I just stare them in the eyes and I'm just like,
I hate you for bringing it up because we just completely stole his thunder.
I'm sorry.
I hate you right now.
You're on Artemis
I'm
Prime.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
But I just knew that's what you were gonna go with, though.
how dare you?
I just felt it.
No. So this next movie, Scott Pilgrim.
Oh.
Versus the World.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say the rest of the title.
I didn't know if you were referencing it.
I
or if that was
forgot.
the movie
I
or
forgot
something.
that was the whole title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything about the movie. Every the direction of the art, the actors that are in the movie, the music is dope as hell. The themes are dope as hell. The way, I love video games. I love when video games and movies meld in such a clean fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Scott Pilgrim.
So I've actually never seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World. However, that was one of the movies that we did ADR to when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
ADR for the layman is this isn't the correct definition of the acronym, but many people refer to it as automated dialogue replacement. And so that's when you do Foley art, which is when you see something on the screen, you make the sound for it. And so we did that. We also did all the voiceovers for a couple of the scenes in the movie. I specifically remember whenever he hit somebody, I think it was with a sword, right? Mm-hmm. We dropped a bag of coins on the ground, right, in order to make the coin sound. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I remember doing that to Scott Pilgrim. I had never seen the movie, but I definitely had seen the scenes.
A few scenes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to watch this movie now.
I think that's pretty. Like I said, I just watched it 2-3 days ago.
I know we said no superheroes, but
Nah. But I said it's borderline. That's why I say you go for it. I was open for you to do it. I just said it was just borderline.
Yeah, I didn't believe it was superheroes, so
I guess the more I think about it, it's more of a video game.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's very superhero-ish.
Yeah.
But
And
it's not a
Captain
superhero,
America
it's
is
just a
in
hero.
it. Before he is Captain America, but he is in it though.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot he is in it, huh?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many good actors in it.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I really love about it too, man? Freaking the camera transitions, dude.
100%.
The camera transitions and the time lapse, the way that they just so in sync. I need to just kind of take a little side lane real quick on this. The way that they take the time lapse with the camera transitions in between, and it's not a day and night thing. And I'm not spoiling it for you by saying this, but it's not even a day and night thing. As much as it's each part of those things is almost their own individual breath. You agree with what I'm saying?
with you.
It's their own individual breath of time and transition. It's the shit, and I'm up. It's like it was no moments when you feel like you went to sleep and you're like, I've only been asleep for like a minute and it's really been 4 hours, but it only felt like a minute. Or when you felt like you've been asleep for 5 minutes and it's really, for 5 hours, it's only been a minute. Or that was like, hey, I need you to get, and then all of a sudden it's like, damn, you got here fast. It's those true moments in life where it happens. It makes you feel like it's happening the way your mind feel like it really happens.
I got you.
The timing. The timing of everything is so impeccable.
Right.
They switch, like any scene transition is done. Somebody was trying to explain this to me. A filmographer, like a director, was trying to explain this to me, where they would make all the scene transitions. They would have a group of people, like a large group of people, sit down and watch the movie, and people tend to blink at the same time while watching a movie, and so they add all the scene transitions in that, like, what 80% of the crowd tends to blink at the same time. So all the scene transitions are put in right at that time in the movie. And so you don't catch any of the like production like bits in there. And so to your point, like that's, you feel like you're there in the time when things are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything about that movie. It's
cool.
impeccable. It's
That's
impeccable.
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
I will say the only movie for me, to do that concept, I'm talking to minuscule better, is the movie Four Rooms. And that has a trillion A-listers in that one.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. Tim Roth. Just real quick, Four Rooms is a movie about 4 different hotel rooms and what's happening. And Tim Roth is the new, just got there bellhop, and he has to tend to these 4 rooms. And each room is a segment. It's one of Quentin Tarantino's first kind of movies with a bunch of folks where they work on that individually separated time lapse of where it doesn't play beginning to end, it's the front and the middle, stuff like that. So when you're watching it, even though he's going from different rooms and it's different times, it's still all misplaced on top of each other as well.
Gotcha.
But I'm talking, you've got Bruce Willis, you got Madonna, you got Antonio Banderas. Yeah. You got a lot of A-listers in this movie. But the point I make is like with the way they do with the camera and the transitions from back to that. But then the scene with Bruce Willis, it's like a 25-minute scene, one take, no camera, same camera, never stops. There's no cuts. The whole thing flows. 25 minutes. The camera's just panning from one person talking to another person, going through the room, coming back through the room. It never stops. There is no break. There is no switch from angles. It's you do it right or it's broke. There is no cuts, but just going through that, I just want to say that's the only thing that beats the way they do Scott Pilgrim would be that movie. But yeah, man, you picked the good one with that one with Scott Pilgrim, man.
You just reminded me something, so I'm gonna have to do a quick shout out to Lucky Number 11.
That's
another good movie.
That's another good one.
Movie?
Is it Quentin Tarantino?
I don't remember that. I don't remember.
I just, for some reason, you're describing it, and it's like that's another damn good movie. I won't say it's one of my top 5, but it deserves a place up there. It's probably in my top 10. Oh, I forgot what his name is. Ben Kingsley and Morgan Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle to put this one on my list because I love this movie. I love everything about this movie. However, I struggle to put it on my list only because it and like 3 other movies are in the same spot in my mind. I gotta put it on my list because it's one of those movies that you never get tired of watching, and then every time you watch it, you find something else in it that references what's happening today, even though it's an older movie, and it scares you, but you watch it anyway. It's not a scary movie, but that movie's Intermediate State with Will Smith, and like the Big Brother theme in that movie is real scary. To look at that movie and see like all that was possible then, and the technology we have now didn't exist. To know what's possible now, you're like, I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they was tracking shoes in that movie. You know what I'm saying? They was tracking shoes. But the other thing is Anthony Hopkins.
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, that's what it is. Gene Hackman is one of the greatest supporting actors of all time. Mm-hmm. Right? And he's only in a few movies. And the only other movie I can think of readily in my head is a superhero movie. But he was in Superman with Christopher Reeve, you know, playing Lex Luthor. And he, like...
Hoosiers.
Huh?
Hoosiers.
I don't think I've seen that.
Basketball movie.
Ah, that makes sense. So...
Yeah, I'm with you. I just went to reference because I knew that wouldn't have been on your list.
Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely Enemy of the State. Will Smith is a phenomenon when it comes to acting. And then, what's her name was in it too?
Lenny Kravitz's ex-wife.
Yeah.
From Cosby Show girl.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name.
Lisa Bonet.
There you go.
Lisa Bonet. But there was Lisa Bonet was his source for the information.
Oh, Regina King.
Regina King, that's it. Who, referencing something we talked about earlier, Boondocks, plays the voice of Riley and Huey. Yeah, she's mad talented. Mad talented.
Miss 227.
Yep. So anyway, that's my Enemy of the State. Another little known fact about Enemy of the State. It was the first movie that I loaded on my iPod.
Put in perspective from Enemy of the State, because remember the whole thing was the little boy had took the thing because he was trying to play it like it was a Game Boy, right? Remember that? Put a little Big Brother perspective into you.
Well, he wasn't trying to play it like it was a Game Boy. He had a Game Boy or game thing, and the dude took his game out and put the other tape in there while he was running from the people.
That's what, yeah, I'm with you. I'm just, that's what I'm with you. A little known fact to add to that is in 2010, one of the major, most powerful supercomputers made by the government ran off of about 300 PlayStation computer chipsets. We're going to leave it at that, if you will. But yeah. So, my next movie on the list is
Major Payne.
Major Payne sits to the side because he's a superhero, first of all. He don't make the list because he's a superhero.
I can't even argue against that.
All right. Man pulling bullets out of his heart and giving it to people saying from heart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Can you hear me, dummy?
You know. One, don't you feel dumb. Okay, anyway. Two, I don't like it.
Right. One, tubby.
This movie right here, by the list, the importance for me is because of, not just because what the movie, well, the two different versions of the movie represents to me, as well as the radio show and the TV show for it, but I read the book over twice a month just to allow myself to re-engage my full imagination. And I watch the movie at least once a month to re-engage my visual preference of my imagination, to continue to allow my mind to flow. In the movie I pick, which is why next year for 42, I will be throwing a 42 bash instead of a 40th bash, because for me, 42 is the key to life. And that comes from the movie, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Love it. The book is, everything. Mos Def. Killing it.
I forgot that movie was going to be on your list. You talk about that movie quite often.
Yeah. It is a matter of real for me. That movie sets the tone.
Is it Mos Def in that? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, in the second version of the movie, yes. Look at you. Mm-hmm. And I can never remember her name, but the girl who plays on the New Girl.
Oh.
She's the female lead in there. She's the sister of the young lady who used to play on Bones. I can't think of her name right now. Zoe Deschanel. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Who's the other lead?
Mos Def was ironic.
He's also, I like everything he's in. He played Bilbo, the British actor.
Oh,
He played Bilbo Baggins in the Hobbit. Yeah.
Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was in Black Panther.
Yeah. I like every movie he's in.
And he plays Watson in Sherlock.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a great supporting character.
He is the Gene Hackman of our time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't really realize he's there until you realize he's there.
Yeah.
You know.
Here we are to round 5.
Round 5.
Round 5. Soul Blade.
All right. So I kept my number 1 favorite movie of all time. Isn't that spectacular by any means, but I know literally every line of this movie. English comedy film, Shaun of the Dead.
Ooh. Okay.
I know every line of this
Fair
movie.
enough.
Everything that these guys have done, Sean Penn and Nick Frost, they did Spaced, which was like a comic book like series. They did, I think Shaun of the Dead was her first like movie, and then they did Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz, yeah.
And
So
like the end of the universe.
Don't all those movies like exist in the same universe?
No.
Okay.
It's like, so they all have references. They're all they're called the Cornetto trilogy because the Cornetto, which is like a ice cream thing, exists in all 3, and they're all different flavors, and they're all connected. But and then you had Paul that came out at the end of that, and that was a garbage film, but it wasn't part of their like set. But yeah, Shaun of the Dead. It's my all-time favorite movie. I watched that probably about 1,000 times.
All right.
I give you that one.
It was ironic that you picked Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because Mos Def is in it. Because in my last movie, Mos Def is also in it. Yes. And Mos Def plays my favorite character out of any movie I've ever seen in this movie. And that movie is 16 Blocks.
I know that's where you're going.
Yeah, Mos Def plays a guy that has to go from the jailhouse to the courthouse, and it's 16 blocks, and he has to be a witness on a trial for a police officer, and they are getting shot at, they're trying to stop him from getting there, but all he wants to do is get there, get his suit, get there, so he can go bake cakes. Literally, that's all he wants to do. So because he wants to get out so he can go bake cakes, and the like, you can tell he's like slow, but he's street smart, but he's slow, right? And you gotta see the movie because the relationship between him and the main character, which is kind of like your anti-hero, which is Bruce Willis plays him, Jack Mosley, right? The relationship between those two, how they start off is like, Mos Def is the fun-loving like criminal, so you already have your preconceptions about what he's supposed to be because he's a felon, right? And then the police officer, or detective really, Jack is supposed to be the hero, but he's just not. He's just an anti-hero.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's not a hero. He's not a villain. He doesn't want none of the bullshit that comes with this. You know what I mean? But he has this cynical view on life, and it's just an incredible film. Like everything how it's put together is just amazing.
For my fifth,
Your
1,
fifth?
2, 3, 4, fifth.
Your fife?
My fifth movie. This is the same thing. This is my number 1 movie of all time.
Sound of Music.
There is. It is a musical.
Nice.
But there is none above it. This movie, without getting too heavy, I will say this. This movie saved me from a very, 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 very deep, darkened depression that I could have went down to. This is, I would say I played this movie, I couldn't tell you how many times, but I would say this movie was on repeat for 4 days straight after I came home from the hospital after my daughter died. And I played this movie on repeat for 4 days straight. Because of this movie, the Julian Files exists. This movie definitely saved me from going down to a deep, dark place, and it reopened my mind to so much level of creativity after I came out of that dark place I was in. And I use it to this day for so much motivation, even before watching it, just looking at the cover of the disc casing for it to remind me of my drive to why I do what I do, to remind me to kiss my kids at night, you know what I mean? Just to be in the moment with them, because I know where I was at when I really embraced this movie. And that movie is Carmen Jones, which starred one Harry Belafonte, one Dorothy Dandridge, with another whole cast of many, many black actors and actresses. It's a movie, I think 1954 originally came out.
I really thought you was about to say Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory on a real level. I really did.
No. That is secondary in there. Trust me, because we've had our talks about that.
Yes, God damn,
that is secondary.
I was being funny, but at the same time, I was mad serious.
Because we've had our talks about that one.
Yeah,
and understand that Willy Wonka is my special guest, list or whatever like that. Because of other things, for channeling. Willy Wonka's used to channel those thoughts and emotions. But what pulled me out of that place,
bamboozled,
was definitely Carmen Jones, man. And that because of that movie, that's what created the whole Sweet Georgia Peach series. Because this was filmed, around Georgia, and one of the things she did in the movie, she was eating peaches. That was one of the things that they did, The whole idea for the military-minded series and all that stuff, and just all that set up, it became of Harry Belafonte's role as military guy in the movie. So many parts of what then encompassed and became the Julian Files is because of this movie. What it did for me in opening so many avenues to my creativity in the poetic world is because of this. And yeah, it's like a secondary heartbeat for me, man, when it comes to this movie,
Dope.
Right
so
on.
if you haven't seen it, watch it. Carmen Jones.
Where in the world?
Man, you are an old man. Just think about the choices we made. It was like, yeah, you're an old guy.
Yeah, and a lot of Lance's movies, those aren't movies I look for.
Yeah,
They're not movies I try to go see.
Right.
Matter of fact, they're movies I typically avoid because, movies for me personally, movies need to take me out of a real space. I want to be put in a fantasy world. I want to be put in situations that I know aren't going to happen. Mm-hmm. Not situations I think I can find 30 miles away.
Right.
That's kind of why I kind of stray away from those movies. While I know they have a lot of history and there's a lot of real stuff that happens, and I'm just like, it's too much.
It's too real.
It's too real for the empathic personality that I have. I'm already the guy that will sit down and watch chick flicks back to back because I like them. Mm-hmm. For me, they're not chick flicks; they're just good movies. Mm-hmm. So
right,
it's that idea of the escapism of a movie.
Yeah,
of the entertainment. You don't want to be reminded of real life, real problems that are happening. Yeah.
I would have. So in my movies, part of the reason I had trouble because I would have said movies like Star Trek, or Star Wars, but then I'm like, they kind of fall in the realm of superheroes,
mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, that's why I kept them out on my end too.
Yeah, Captain Picard he's Professor X. Mm-hmm. As always, if you like this podcast, go ahead and hit that like button. You want to hear more, see more, hit that subscribe button, right? And make sure you hit the bell next to it so you get the notification when we drop the video. or the audio.
You know what time it is.
Anyway, look, y'all. We out this.